Hey everyone, LeilaniJoy here, and I am back with a brand new episode of Art Nouveau for you today. This is my video art blog where I document my creative process and give you guys some tips and tricks along the way. As you can see here, my setup has changed a little bit, and that's because there has been craziness in my life the last couple of months, and that's why I've been gone so long, actually. So recently we found water damage in our house, and that means there was mold in the floor and in the wall, and I had been like sick for months, like sinus headaches, ear infections, allergies, and I just did not know what was going on. So one day I was like, I'm gonna look under the carpet and see what's going on under here, and it was moldy. So we had to completely move out of our work area, move everything into one side of the house, which was crazy. We were living like hoarders, and I couldn't really work in here, and I couldn't really film any videos. So I also, at the same time, got a huge commission job, which I can't share with you guys quite yet, and I had to go find somewhere to paint. So I had to find an outside studio, move all my stuff out there, and quickly do the largest painting I've ever done. It was over 50 inches by 36 inches. And I had to do it in like 2 weeks. So that's why I've been a little bit quiet and I haven't had time to make a new video. But we finally got the repairs done on my home studio, and I have a little bit of a different setup, and we have a hardwood floor instead of carpet, so it's probably a little bit echoey in here. Anyway, I'm really excited to finally be back. Thank you guys for your patience. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out to see me at Disney in September, because I had a fantastic time, and I have some really exciting news to share with you guys. If you came to see me, you know this. But when I arrived to do my signing at Disney this year, my Mulan short hair was on the front window banner. And it was honestly, I think one of the most, I don't even know how to describe it. I cried when I saw it. I did not know it was going to be there, and it was a complete surprise. And honestly, it's one of the most gratifying, humbling, professional things that's ever happened to me, because to be featured in that window, I don't know who chooses it. It's like a committee, and it's usually there for a year or a couple of years. And I mean, there's amazing artists at WonderGround Gallery. So to have my piece chosen to be a featured piece in the window is just, I don't know. It's awesome. It's so cool. So thank you for all of the love and congrats on that. I feel like I made it. I finally made it. Anyway, today, speaking of Mulan, I am going to be doing another Mulan piece for you guys. And most of you guys have seen this because I have revealed it on my social media. But I want to share the process of it with you anyway. And because she is my favorite Disney character, and I'm very excited about the new film coming out. And she is actually one of my favorite, this piece is one of my favorites I've done for WonderGround. So when they asked me, well, what character do you want to do next? I was like, can I do Mulan again? And they're like, sure. So this time I want to really do her in her armor and her as Ping and that strong female warrior. And I'm just stoked because I love nothing more than a strong female character. It's just what I love to paint more than anything. So without further ado, thanks for listening to my little life rant and catch up. Let's jump into my brand new piece, Ping, and I'll show you guys the process. So when I started this piece, I had a few ideas in mind already. I knew I wanted to incorporate Mulan in her armor as Ping, and I wanted to set her in the snow scene with the Hun army coming over the hill. And there's a lot of great screenshots and concept art I found from this scene, which was really helpful. And then I started looking actually at cosplayers because they had a really great reference to her armor and also allowed me to kind of see it in a slightly more realistic style, since my work is maybe a little bit more detailed than the actual animation might be. So some of these cosplayers just had like a great attitude, and I even love this one that's like a Boba Fett crossover. I don't know, she just has a great attitude that I really want to kind of emulate. I also came across this really, I wanted a warrior woman feel, and I found this image reference from the show Vikings, which I actually haven't watched yet, but judging by this, it looks awesome. And I really like this simple pose. And I also want this to be a companion or sister piece to my existing Mulan piece of short hair. And I want it to kind of be like her next stage. So I wanted something very similar compositionally, yet like she's in a different stage. So I want the sword as well. So I thought this was kind of a cool transition of her holding the sword up and then she has it down and drawing it ready for battle. Around this time, I also want to mention that my husband found a Chinese Mulan film from 2009, and he bought me the DVD to kind of help get me inspired. And I loved this film. It's not perfect. It actually has some kind of weird editing choices, but the actress that plays Mulan is excellent, and I really liked it overall. I think actually with a few tweaks, it could have been a fantastic film. I recommend it. I recommend watching it. Anyway, with all these inspirations in mind, I took this reference photo of myself in the pose that I was kind of thinking of, and I found this a couple of different references for her face, for kind of her attitude, and I love this artwork actually a lot. It kind of had a certain mood that I want to incorporate in my version. And I also love this portrait photograph that I'm also going to be kind of referencing for a very simplified version of this, but I like something about the attitude. So from here, I'm gonna start sketching. So now with my sketch finished, finalized, and approved by Disney on the first try, which was amazing, that never happens to me, I then wanted to do a color comp, which is basically like a practice color, and I did it in acrylic paint instead of digitally this time because as I was working on this, I wanted to mix all my paints. And I was on a tight deadline this time, and I thought it would really be helpful to have all my colors decided and pre-mixed before I started painting. And basically it's a paint by number from there. And this really, really helped me and moved me along. And the first pass I did was actually too saturated, so I muted this a lot. And I really think it has a much nicer sort of harmony to it, and I love this muted palette.
finish my painting, I want to add one more finishing touch, and I'm a little bit nervous about doing this, but I think it'll be a nice effect. I'm going to take my painting and I'm going to apply a little spritz of white spray paint to make a snowy mist at the bottom of the painting. Now, to do this, I definitely wanted to practice first, so I had like a color printout that I was just, using as reference. So I practiced it on this first, and then when I'm ready, I'm going to do the same thing. I have most of the painting shielded by newspaper, and I'm just going to very lightly lift up the edge so you don't get a hard line, and barely spray the white spray paint at the base. You can always add more, you can't add less, and I really wanted to be very careful with how much I added. And then to finish, I'll do a few hand-painted snowflakes just for some variety of size, and this will really kind of set her in the scene. So Ping is just about ready to head off into battle, but before she does, we need to varnish this painting. And I don't usually show this stage of the process, but I get asked about it a lot, so I thought I would go ahead and throw in some tips on how I do this. So I like to use Gamvar picture varnish, and I used to use gloss varnish, which I also really like, but for this piece, I wanted it to have just a little bit more of a satin finish, so I'm going to be using their satin finish varnish. Now, there is a little trick to using this actually, and as you can see here in the bottle, it's got a little bit of a cloudy look about it, which looks a little scary, but the trick to using this is there is actually a wax element to this, which gives it the satin sheen. So the best way to apply this is to heat some water up, either in the microwave or the stovetop, and then you're going to put your varnish bottle into the hot water. It doesn't have, not boiling, just like pretty warm. And you want to heat your varnish for about 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there, until it's nice and melted. In the meantime, you want to take a product called a tack cloth to your painting, which is basically kind of a waxy little cloth that will pick up any dust or fibers or anything that might be stuck to your painting, because if you don't do that, then they're going to be stuck in your varnish. So just go over that very gently, and then you're ready to apply your final varnish. So once your varnish is ready, I just pour a little bit. You don't need a lot. Thinner the better in this case, in a little tray or a dish, and then you're going to take your brush and do a varnishing brush, and you're going to do a scrubbing kind of motion on your painting. And be gentle, you don't want to scratch your paint, and you want to make sure that you have already applied an isolation coat, which is basically a protective permanent coat between your painting and your removable varnish. And you can use a soft gel for this, or you can use a gloss medium. I wouldn't use matte medium because that tends to dull your colors a little bit. I would use gloss for your isolation coat, and then whatever type of varnish you would like. And then once this is done and you've got it all coated and you look in the light and you can tell that you didn't miss any spots, then you're going to put a dust cover or a lid of some kind of protective layer so that dust does not fall into your varnish. And then you want to let this dry for at least 24, preferably 48 hours, although I have shipped a painting within 24 hours, which is probably not advisable, but let it dry as long as you possibly can before you ship.
Okay guys, well my Ping Mulan piece is almost finished now, and before I show you how she turned out, which you could already see on my Instagram if you want to cheat, I want to tell you a few quick other things. Also, I finished a piece for WonderGround Gallery that was inspired by Alice in Wonderland this year, and I don't know if I can put a full video of her together because, as some of you know, I painted her live when I was at Disneyland at WonderGround Gallery in 2018, and I finished her and launched her this September, and she has already sold, which I'm so excited about. She looked amazing in her frame, but yeah, so I launched that piece as well. I did 2 this year, and this original Mulan Ping piece is still available at WonderGround Gallery, the original, I think. Anyways, they don't tell me sometimes. I just get like a check and I'm like, oh, I guess I sold that. And of course you can buy prints, canvas reproductions, and I think postcards. I'm not sure if they did anything else, but you can find out how to order all those things on my website at leilanijoy.com/Disney-art. I think that's the website. It shows you where you can call and you can order, and they can mail it to you and all that good stuff. Something else fun, I just finished my cosplay Halloween costume. Some of you guys know Brian and I did a tribute to Turbo Kid this year, which I've been wanting to do since I saw that movie honestly, I think that's why my hair is light pink right now. I'm obsessed with the character Apple. She's just like so cute and charming, and I love this little movie. Check it out on Amazon Prime. But I just want to do a quick Senpai Noticed Me of fangirl, because I shared this cosplay on Instagram, and one of the directors, she liked it and reposted it. So I love when that happens. That's like my favorite thing about social media, when you can connect to other creative people and be like, hey, I love your thing. And they're like, oh, thank you. Because it's just amazing. In other news, I'm going to have a massive, massive is maybe a little bit too strong a word, but I'm going to have a big Black Friday sale coming soon. I've got a bunch of extra leftover prints from my stint at WonderGround, and I'm discounting everything. Everything must go. So be sure to check it out very soon on my Etsy shop right here. I probably just do it for like a week or whatever. Black Friday is like a month long now. It's like Black November. I don't know. Anyways, I'm putting everything on sale. And I recently discounted my online art school, the Art School Express, and I'm adding a crash course version. Meaning, I'm going to have a version where you don't have to check in with me, you don't have to get critiques, you can just watch all the videos, consume all the content, and be like, cool, I learned something. And that's going to be even cheaper, so check that out. If you still want to get critiques from me and feedback and kind of just like work along with me, you can still get the regular class, but I'll have this fast version too. And I recently added something to my Patreon where you can get a monthly critique from me. So if you want, you can buy the crash course and subscribe to my Patreon at the critique level and get a critique once a month. And that might come out cheaper. I don't know. Anyways, you can make it work. I'm also doing a new piece on my Patreon that I let my fans, you guys, my patrons, vote on the thumbnail. And I'm really excited to announce that I'm doing a paint this again of my 3 Fates piece. I never was super satisfied with how these came out, especially because they were like little teeny tiny paintings, and I love the subject matter. So I think it's time now to take my skills that I have earned over the last, I don't know how many years, those are pretty old, and do a paint this again. And I've got a sketch that I started last night, and I'm really digging it. So if you want to see some more behind the scenes progress of that, give me feedback on the thumbnails I did, check me out on Patreon. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I think that's it for me today. Be sure to get yourself a print or reproduction of this piece. WonderGround is also still doing my piece Short Hair, where you can get this matted framed print. You can also get these little minis that they have, mini canvases. And they did a second run of the canvas reproductions. So there's an edition 2, and they're big. They're like 18 by 24. So those are really cool. And I just signed some recently. So they're selling really fast. So you want to get those. I also have prints of my new piece, Alice, Down the Rabbit Hole. And these, just like my Madeline piece, you can choose which way she displays, up or down. Up or down the rabbit hole. Up the rabbit hole sounds really some weird. Anyways, okay, I'm really chatty today because I haven't made a video in so long. So thank you guys for waiting. I've got more good stuff. I'm finally getting back in the groove of working, and I'm excited about it. So thanks for hanging with me, and hope to see you on another video or something sometime soon. All right, bye everybody.